Today, a group of doctors and terminally ill patients, they filed a lawsuit in State Supreme Court of Manhattan calling for the legalization of doctor-assisted suicide. The practice, it can be prosecuted currently under the manslaughter statute according to current state law. However, the lawsuit argues that the law was intended to prevent someone from, for instance, helping a lovesick teenager commit suicide, but not to stop a doctor from helping a mentally competent, terminally ill patient die. Is it a tough line here, or do you think that we can create enough standards that, like Oregon and the rest here, that this is something that we can police and give death with dignity?
Well, it's a question about liberty, really. It comes down to, we talk about the sanctity of the home and all of our freedoms and rights, but if you don't have the right to determine whether you can exist and whether you continue to live, then really the state steps in at that point, and that's the biggest decision a person can make. And we're not talking about, again, we're not talking about kids, we're not talking about people who are healthy, but if you are you're a sick person, and you're on life support, you're in excruciating pain, maybe you don't even know. I mean, we have, in effect, some form of it in terms of a living will. You may be able to say, look, I don't want to be on life support. And the other component is if you remain on life support and you live on life support for 2 years, your estate's going to go to Medicaid or whatever is, is paying the bill there. It
seems, Mark, that this conversation in other parts of the country, at least, and certainly other parts of the world, has evolved where they've figured out the right amount of steps, that a person has to be of sound mind, that there's enough people, checks and balances, enough time interregnums between when they want to and before it can be performed, and also that enough medical professionals look at it, that it's not a kid pushing the parent to do it to get the will, or that a person's in a lot of pain, it's not terminal, but they don't want to go through the pain anymore. I think we can do this. Am I wrong?
Well, we can do it, but we don't have the existing legal mechanisms to do it in New York. This suit, to me, sounds like a non-starter. It's based on the Equal Protection Clause of the New York Constitution, not the federal Constitution, and it's seeking to draw a parallel between turning off somebody's life support and affirmatively killing them. Those two things are not similarly situated for equal protection purposes. What needs to happen is a law needs to be passed allowing it with the appropriate safeguards, and other states have served as laboratories for it already, so we can do it, or to have a constitutional amendment, a New York constitutional amendment allowing it. I certainly support it for the reasons that Mayo said. It's the most fundamental individual liberty there is.
I agree. The lawsuit's not going anywhere, but maybe it's designed to bring attention to it and hopefully spur the legislature to enact the law.
Well, Jimmy, Mayo, Mark, that's the time that we have for tonight here. Thank you guys as always. We'll see you as always next Wednesday. Coming up next, we're going to take a look at news making headlines around the valley. Stay with us.
Hopefully I won't get the meeting.